I got about 20,000 questions here, so hopefully you got time to answer them all. So
For sure.
hey, but the first thing I did want to start off with, I said I've been looking over Diallo's line. I just want to thank you for bringing back the football crop top.
No doubt, no doubt. It reminds me of my rec league uniforms and my high school uniforms as well. You don't really see it as much nowadays, but I definitely takes me back to those days where the see-through mesh jerseys, shoulder pads, butterfly shoulder pads. I'm not sure how old you are, but that's kind of like the era I grew up in.
That's the next question. The next question I have: who wore it the best back in the day? Because I actually had that written down here. I have my choice.
That's a good question. Emmitt Smith, I hate to say another Dallas Cowboy, but Emmitt Smith, early on in his career, he wore it nice. Some other names out there. I feel like running backs wore it a little better than other positions. Why do I want to say what y'all play? Walter Payton.
No.
Yeah, that was he wore his uniform nice as well too.
I'm going to age myself. I'm going to age myself here. I was going to go with Nebraska of the '80s and Irving Fryer.
Okay.
Football. Could you bring back the horse collar or like the neck rolls into fashion?
Well, I'm pretty sure it can be done if it's already not in motion already. I'm pretty sure it can be done.
Well, why should everyone have I guess an old school jersey in their closets right now?
I would say jerseys have became more popular this year. I mean, well, in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of them this summer. Different brands went to Fashion Week out in Paris. Seeing a couple of different versions of jerseys. I think always tying athletics to high-end fashion, something that people watch every day, but also people get dressed as well too. So try to create more normalcy in your everyday attire. I think it meant a lot for us just because with Diallo, we want to be as transitional throughout each season, being able to layer different pieces. That spoke towards the summer, but you can dress it up and dress it down however you want to dress it. I wore all variations of the jersey in many different ways. I don't think I've worn it the same way twice. So I think it's beneficial to be able to have, like I said, something that's everyday wear be a part of your wardrobe.
And how cool is it to have a pop-up shop now coming up for Fashion Week?
That's awesome. This is our second time in New York. Was fortunate to do one in Paris for Fashion Week as well. Our first one was kind of not a kind of it was the launch of the brand, a soft launch. We didn't go live on the website until the summer, but we did one back in February and got a great response. My business partner Derek Robinson, Dex Rob, never want me to say his full name, but Dex Rob, he has a strong following in New York as well as obviously me playing here, but a lot of friends here as well too. So I was able to get a bunch of foot traffic. Excited. Obviously, it's a little different in season, having a pop up all weekend. Starting tomorrow, I'll be able to show face tomorrow, but one Saturday and Sunday kicks in. It's kind of more focused for me towards football in season. So I'm excited about it. I have some family coming up for the games and actually be able to check out the brand. Obviously, they know about it, but to be able to see it from a different perspective always means a lot as well. And just to get our brand out and around other fashion brands or fashion houses that are showing, I think always just puts us in a good space.
How much work is involved in putting a fashion brand together from just the sales, the marketing, and all that?
Yeah, it's nonstop. I mean, it's been a learning process through it all. We manufacture in States. The idea came about around COVID at the time, obviously not knowing what international flights and being able to open and travel, what that was going to look like. We chose to keep it domestic. Was able to find some good people to try to marry the vision of what me and my business partner have for the brand. But it's constant battle. Obviously, from a creative side, you can throw out as many ideas. Some of them are practical, some of them aren't. But it's even more to a business than just being creative. Like you said, the marketing, business strategy, making sure that you're going about things the right way. Obviously, there's always going to be bumps and bruises around the road, but you try to eliminate as many of those as possible throughout the process. But it's been a fun one. As far as the demand on time, it's around the clock. I mean, anytime you open up a business, you can't. If you want to see it succeed, you can't put one foot in and one foot out. You can't just be testing the waters. You got to jump in and get your feet wet and roll with the punches.
How do you know you're good at it as being a fashion designer? Like, how do you, like, what was the first time you said, hey, I'm pretty good at this, I really want to keep this going?
I mean, obviously seeing the response. I would say for me, having the response that we had back in February for a pop-up that we did with Nordstrom, seeing a genuine reaction for people who have seen the product for the first time. And at that time, me and our Diallo team had seen it. We've been around it. I've wore a couple pieces. Never really had promoted it because it wasn't time to go live yet. But just getting genuine reactions from people, it was all positive. Obviously, it's always room to grow, but to see the first initial reaction be a positive one meant a lot to me. That's not to say that I'm here solidified in the fashion game, but it was the first step for us to be able to build off of and just continue to keep growing and being creative and putting our ideas into different pieces as we continue to build out each collection for Diallo.
Now, does your body feel like it's been in the league for 13 seasons right now?
I felt amazing. It's funny you say that. I have a lot of conversations with the guys in the locker room. We even played basketball this past offseason. Some of them were surprised at me jumping and moving around on the court. But yeah, my body feels amazing. I've been fortunate I was fortunate early on to get drafted to a team with a bunch of veterans who taught me about routines. Obviously, you have to apply what you learn over the years. And I've built a routine for myself. I've been intentional with my training in season, off season, what I put in my body, and just continue to keep challenging myself. I've been also fortunate to not have any serious injuries, which is also, I mean, obviously it's a part of our game. They always tell us football is 100% injury. It's just a matter of time of when it's going to happen. But I've been fortunate in that aspect to not have anything major. But no, my body doesn't feel like I've been in the league 13 years. I still feel as good as I did my rookie year. I'm a little lighter. But yeah, I feel good. Our trainers do a great job of strategically putting a plan together for us to be able to attack the off season as well as training camp and in season to keep me right. And obviously, the stuff that I do on my own, whether it's acupuncture, massages, contrast, cold tub, hot tub, stretching, yoga, meditation, keeping the mind right. I mean, it's full. It's full time. A lot of people look at sports or look at football and think that we just play on Sundays. And that's the furthest from the truth.
Is it now more, I guess, recovery focused or more recovery centric than it was back in 13 seasons ago? Is it more, like you said, cold plunges and meditation and all that, than it was heavyweight training and sprints? And
yes, and I think it's still a combination of both, but it's more so just being aware and listening to your body with all the research and information that we're able to get back, whether it's them tracking us through practice, your workload throughout the week, understanding what you need to do to recover from a personal side, but also listening to our sports science people as well too. Just trying to put a plan together and trusting in that plan. Obviously, when you're out there, you're practicing, all that stuff is not on your mental. You're out there exerting yourself and you're pushing yourself to the limit. But you have to have a conversation with the sports team. You have to trust your trainers. You have to be transparent with your strength staff and your training staff, and just be on the same page because they're there to help us be the best that we can be on game day. That's the focus. I wouldn't say that it was never the focus 13 years ago. I just think that over the years, more and more technology, more and more knowledge has been put in front of us when it comes to just the sports science of it all.
You said back in the day, some of the veterans gave you some advice on how to prepare for the season. Anybody in particular, or anything that still stands today, still sticks with you?
Anquan Bolden, I'll never forget how he approached his week to week, how he worked. Um, Obviously, Ray Lewis, the names that you know of, Ed Reed, those three, I mean, stick out for sure. I was fortunate to learn from those guys in my rookie year. Everyone's not fortunate to walk into a locker room with such veteran presence, and I mean, Hall of Fame caliber guys. So very thankful for the lessons I learned from them. And they wasn't shy as well. I mean, they didn't necessarily pull you under their wing and force you to do things, but if you gravitated towards them and if you look like you were trying to better yourself, then they would share as much knowledge. And I try to do that now. Obviously, I'm kind of like in the same position as those guys when it comes to experience and veteran presence. So anything that I can share to the young guys in the locker room now, I know some of our strength coaches have some of the young guys come up and talk to me just about the importance of routine and trying to create that early, just because the season is so long. It's a lot of college guys coming to the NFL and don't realize how long the season is. And like you spoke to recovery, how big that is, and to being able to be yourself the following week. It's 17 guaranteed games in the regular season, but ultimately, if you want to be playing until the second week of February and you start training camp last week of July, that's a long time. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't necessarily understand the importance of just the day-to-day routine. It can kind of get boring, or you may not feel like you want to do it after a loss or even after a win from time to time, but you have to continue to hit the reset button day to day and even more so week to week to be able to sustain a healthy season. I mean, some stuff you can't control when it comes to injury, but to be able to put yourself in the best situation physically and mentally, you have to create a routine.
When does it really start kicking in during the season? Like, it's really, like you said, it's a long process, a long season. Like, is it week 4, week 5, and then you start to feel, now I'm a little more sore than I was at the beginning of the season? When does recovery start getting more and more?
I mean, to be honest, recovery truly starts in training camp. I mean, although we're not playing a game every week, the practice load is a little different. So you practicing this year is a little different compared to last year. How many days on, how many days off? But training camp kind of gets you in the rhythm to understanding how big recovery is, because you only get one day off in between training camp practices. So you want to be fresh the next time that you're off. So if you haven't created a routine on that off day or the night prior to the off day, just go with the flow. Like sometimes those days can kind of get lost. And now you're sitting at a practice where you don't feel yourself, or you can't go out and exert yourself in a way that you know you can. So I think training camp helps you get into that groove. Obviously, once you get into a season, everyone in the league weeks looks different. But for the most part, you have an off day. Some follow Thursday, Tuesday, however it goes. Some teams on Friday. But once you get into the season, at 6 days of preparation, and really 3 active days on the field. So it's like everything is routine then and then. As far as what week of the season it starts to pile up, that's different for everyone. It could be different depending on your schedule. For us this year, we opened up with our first 3 games happens in 11 days. So that right there tells you that you have to, you have to be proactive. You have to understand what you're getting into, like what you're getting yourself into each day. Understanding that yes, we have a game this Sunday, but you also want to be fresh for the game the following Sunday, and then the Thursday game right after that Sunday, because it's 4 days in between West Coast trip. Like I said, it sounds like I'm rambling, but it can be a lot.
Now, with it, as far as it being a quarterback, how is it evenly distributed? How evenly distributed is it? The mental preparation when it comes to knowing the offense, reading defenses, making changes at the line of scrimmage, as far as just the physical preparation, is it kind of even, or is it one outweigh the other?
I mean, mental is always going to be part of, or it's always going to weigh heavier from the quarterback perspective. I mean, everyone plays the game differently, but it's so much on our plate. That's not to say that you have to neglect the physical side of it, because you're also taking hits. You're moving the pocket. You need to be strong enough to sustain throughout the full season. But our game is, without a doubt, played from a mental aspect, understanding coverages. More importantly, understanding your scheme, everything in and out about your own scheme before you understand the other defenses and on how to attack, how to counter blitzes, and how to counter their defensive coordinator. It's for sure a mental game. And that's just with preparation, obviously, the time that you put in, watching film, talking to the guys, being on the same page, understanding what's the plan each and every play as you go out there on the field.
So what could you take me through a day in the life of a quarterback from morning practice or morning ritual? You get up in the morning, do what you need to do, get to the field, whether it's training, whether it's studying. How does that all work? And when do you go home?
Yeah, when do you go home? I could give you like a Wednesday. So typically get to the facility around 6 a.m. The first meeting is until 8:30, so you try to knock out a workout. And I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just saying kind of my routine. Get it to the facility, knock out a workout, do some of your modalities of recovery for the workout, and get yourself ready for practice. And then you got about an hour before meetings for the first meeting, and that's when you're looking over. That's what I'm looking over, the plays that are being installed for today, just getting a jump or head start, as well as breaking down the day prior, depending on what time of the week it is. If it's a Wednesday, and typically that's like a early down, first and second down preparation for it. So we're breaking down on that Tuesday, breaking down the defense and what they like to do early down. So you have an idea of what you're already getting into when you go into the meetings. Then obviously you have meetings, a few hours, walk through to install what we just talked about in the meetings and just our early down package. Break in between that, lunch, go out to practice to be able to apply the stuff that we went through in walkthroughs, as well as meetings, come back after practice, recovery time, hour and a half, and then watch the practice, after the finish watching the practice, get a head start on what the next day entails, whether it's a situation, it could be red zone, it could be third down, it could be blitz pickup. So starting to watch and get a feel for them in that aspect as well. And after those meetings, the coaches are pretty much done with you as far as one-on-one time or group time. And then for the most part, each group stays back. Every group is a little different. Our quarterback room stays together. We continue to keep breaking down some more film as well. And as far as what time you get home, sometimes it could be 7 o'clock. Sometimes it could be earlier. It just depends. 7, 8. It really depends. Depends on the week. So long.
It's a long day for sure. And how many calories a day do you eat? Do you have a strict diet regimen or?
I honestly don't know how many calories I eat. I pretty much eat the same thing every day though. So after waking up, I drink a fresh juice that I have my chef make for me in the morning. Come in, work out. After workout, 4 scrambled eggs, and I think it's like a 12-ounce cup of oatmeal with blueberries and cinnamon. Prior to practice, I have a smoothie. Following practice, anywhere between 12 ounces of protein, vegetables. I could be better with carbs. I kind of blend in the carbs, but sometimes it makes me feel full after practice. So if I don't hit carbs after practice, then I'll do it on my dinner. And dinners kind of reflects a little bit of lunch, but more vegetables. So I still do 12 ounces of protein, 2 cups of vegetables, and typically 1 cup of starch or complex carbs. And if I'm hungry throughout the day, then I'm pretty much snacking on almonds. It's kind of my go-to.
I mean, is that the guy responsible for the ab shot that you did the other day on Instagram?
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, that is the diet responsible for that. And a lot of water. A lot of water. It's been hot in New York. This training camp has been hot. This past week it's been a heat wave. So I mean, obviously hydration is key. They always say if you feel thirsty, then it's too late. So I mean, stay hydrated throughout the week, but more importantly, you want to be able to make sure you're hydrated for the game. So it's not anything that you can do 24 hours before. It's like it needs to be a part of your routine and part of your plan as far as your diet. I mean, I try to make the best decisions when it comes to eating. Obviously, I'm older than a lot of the guys in the locker room, or most guys in the locker room. So as you get older, you think you're more intentional to what you eat. When you're younger, you hear it, but you kind of still stuck in your ways. I think I kind of appreciated or got locked in a little earlier than most guys will, or most guys have, and it's just been part of my routine as far as just eating. I also don't eat any red meat. Try to limit the fried food, especially in season. I'm human, so I do eat it out of season. My guilty pleasure is French fries. I love French fries, but I've been good about it this training camp.
Where do you get them at in New York? In New York, where do you get them at?
Anybody that sells French fries, I want them. So I don't have like a specific place that I go to. I would say Catch Steak has some good truffle fries, as well as my favorite restaurant, a spot called Mamo. Mamo. I always go back and forth with Mamo. It's Italian restaurant. I think Soho or Tribeca, one of those areas.
Well, the
But
Brazilian.
sure.
Well, I was gonna say, another question, another abs question. I mean, aesthetically they look great, but do they serve a purpose, a function for you on the field? Do you notice that a tight core, a strong core helps you better?
Yeah, I mean, abs, I think, looks obviously different on every person, but a core, I mean, having a strong core generates force throughout the body. And I spoke to the injuries earlier in our conversation. Back in 2017, after that season, I got after the 2016 season, January of 2017, I played with a sports hernia, partial tear on my left side. And when I was going through the rehab of that, I learned how important the core muscle, how important your core muscles were, because some of the things that I couldn't do just strictly because of me having the surgery and resetting everything, it just wasn't activating. So I think that it definitely plays a big part as an athlete, but for sure from a quarterback position. I mean, obviously we're a rotational position and we're loaded on one side. It's very rare that guys are ambidextrous. So the core, like I said, that's where you generate all your power from. So a lot of our exercises, a lot of my workouts start with core and end with core, not just abs, not just trying to have good looking abs. I think my body type just fits that. But for me, it's more so about building core strength because I think it just helps you with everything. A strong core helps you get your squat better. A strong core helps you bench better. A strong core helps you power clean and hang clean better. So, and overall, all those lifts help generate more and more power and speed as well too, which is the nature of our game.
You can't wear a crop top without a six pack either.
Yeah, true that. I mean, well, you can. I don't want to deter anybody from not buying a Diallo that doesn't have a crop. So, by all means, wear it however you want to.
One thing, for the Giants, how is your role different than anyone else's right now on that team?
Yeah, obviously, my day to day is to stay ready and to stay engaged, to lead in my own way. Obviously, I've been fortunate to be around a bunch of these guys for the last 2 years, but I've played against these guys, so got their respect just to the things that I've done here, but also some of the things that I've done while being in the league. But as my role day to day, outside of getting myself ready for any situation that I have to go into play, is also being able to better our quarterback room, and that's helping DJ with his prep, anything that I can offer, advice, scheme wise, what I'm seeing on the defense, I mean, obviously, the better our room is as a whole, the better off we are as a team. Everything starts. We're an extension of our coaching staff, so we have to be on the same page. We have to have the same vision as them. So just getting us on the same page. Like I said, keeping the energy in the room up, helping DJ in any aspect that he needs it, but at the same time, making sure that I'm ready physically and mentally to go out and perform at a high level. You never want to see any drop off if an injury was to happen to any starter on the team. We have a next man up mentality, and that's across the board. And when that next man is called up, the expectation is to go out there and play at a high level because everyone on this team trusts and believe that we're on this team for a reason.
How do you maintain that next man up mentality on the first snap? How do you, if you get the call, that first snap, you're ready to go? How do you maintain that without having, I guess, an adequate warm-up?
Yeah, I would say you trust your preparation, but more importantly, I mean, you trust the guys that are around you. You trust the scheme. You play within the scheme, but like I said, you trust the people around you. You prepare in a way that if the opportunity does present itself, that you're ready to go out there without any hesitation. But you also trust in the guys that are around you that they're going to make plays. We have a ton of playmakers on our team. There are a ton of guys that can do a lot of special things with the ball in their hands. And it's not up to you to go out there and be Superman. You have to play your role and play your role at a high level to a man, not just myself, but that's every position.
I think the last question I do have is, what's your proudest moment in the NFL or in your football career?
Proudest moment. Some of them probably fighting against each other. As a professional, it's always I'll never forget winning down in Miami, my third year in Buffalo, and us breaking the streak, the 17-year drought of missing the playoffs in Buffalo. I remember taking a plane ride home, from Miami, and the ball dropped. New Year's happened while we was on the plane, and we touched down in Buffalo. It was snowing crazy there. There was a ton of fans. That moment always stick out to me, just because obviously a special moment at the time, 17-year drought, but more importantly, just like the things that we overcame as a team that year, and some of the things that I overcame personally to be able to get to that moment, to be able to share that moment with the rest of my teammates meant a lot. Obviously, today getting drafted back in 2011, not necessarily where I wanted to get drafted as far as round wise, but to still hear my name called is for sure a proud moment. I'll never forget that. A lot of work, a lot of years, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of blood, sweat, tears went into being able to have that moment, to be able to hear my name called across the screen with my family around me was amazing. These are like just different parts of my life. Obviously in college, had a bunch of good times in college. But one that will stick out was my freshman year beating Florida State in Blacksburg. The fans rushed the stadium. The fans rushed the field. That was the first time Coach Frank Beamer had beat Bobby Bowden in his career. So that was a special moment. And as an 18-year-old, it was like, wow, like this is really happening. High school, I would say, winning the state championship, nothing beats that. But yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate to have a bunch of things to be proud of over my career, and continue to keep pressing forward, and hopefully continue to make more memories as I continue to keep pursuing and chasing my dream.
Were you back in the day? Were they coming out to a Metallica?
Yep.
Sandman back then?
Yep.
What kind of rush was that? What kind of rush was that when they started playing?
It's funny you asked that because yesterday in practice they just played that as we were just getting out to the field, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, that's what they play at Virginia Tech, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's nothing like it." The timing of the kickoff from when the beat drop, it's an electric atmosphere. I actually just posted, or I reposted, I think CBS Sports or something over the weekend because Virginia Tech just played last Saturday. They had the video of Enter the Sandman. It was they posted. It was like, man, gives you goosebumps every time. It just took me back. I reposted on my Instagram story, but yeah, it's nothing like it. It's to hear the keys shaking. It almost feels like the stadium is moving. Yeah, I've been fortunate to play at a bunch of different places, but Blacksburg night game, Thursday night, even the Saturday night, but Thursday night, I don't think is anything that tops the atmosphere.